My name is Rashmi Halkar Singh. I'm the Deputy Editor of Headache. It's my pleasure today to be joined today by one of our colleagues, Dr. Leon Moskatel, who was one of the authors of a recent publication entitled Comparative Prevalence and Characteristics of Fabricated Citations in Large Language Models in Headache Medicine. Welcome, Dr. Moskatel. It's good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
So your paper is very interesting. We were talking before we recorded that AI is everywhere in our lives. As a member of the editorial team of the journal Headache, we talk about it frequently. As a mother of a high school student, we talk about it frequently at home as well. I'm curious, what made you do this particular study? What piqued your interest?
So earlier this year, we were working on a completely separate paper, and ChatGPT had been very much in the media talking about how it was going to revolutionize everything. And so, out of curiosity, I wanted to see how could we apply this to doing literature review, which, is one of my favorite things, but it can be lengthy and time consuming. And so I wanted to see, is there a better way to do it? So anytime you go to use a tool like anytime you go to use a tool for literature review, you want to make sure it's generating good and accurate results. So we sought to look at ChatGPT and whether it could gather sufficient evidence and accurate evidence by pegging it to the AAN guidelines for the preventative treatment of migraine. And so we could use it to see, will it pull correct and accurate papers in order to gauge whether or not it could be an effective tool.
So what did you ask ChatGPT exactly?
So the question was, is blank an effective therapy or an effective medication for the prevention of migraine?
And what did you get back?
Oh, we got a lot of very interesting things
Yeah, I
back.
saw your list. Yes.
So in total, we initially started with using ChatGPT 3.5, as this is the free to use one and the one that most people are familiar with, as well as the most widely available. And so all together, we put in a total of 47 medications and got out 119 citations. And we're astounded to find out that 77 of those 119 citations were fabricated papers, meaning that those papers that were cited just did not exist. They were an agglomeration of different words put together by the large language model to form what sounded like a fluent title, but in fact was complete nonsense. For example, Rashmi, you may be interested to find out that you authored a new paper called Protriptyline, a forgotten alternative for migraine prophylaxis,
Wow, sounds
that you
awesome.
published in Headache in 2019, according to ChatGPT at least.
Amazing. Things I didn't even know I did. Okay.
And so we then wanted to see, how did these fabricated citations evolve over time? And so then we took that same framework and we applied it to ChatGPT 4, which is the paid subscription, and we found that it did a better job and in fact only had 20% fabricated citations. So only 20 out of 97 citations were fabricated. It generated fewer fabrications due to increased duplicates. And then we also looked at Bing, powered by ChatGPT, which accesses the internet and so can pull in that information. And the good news is that when it has access to the internet, it doesn't actually fabricate citations. And so it generated 57 citations, none of which were fabricated. Now, you may think that number is a lot lower, and that's because it overwhelmingly did not want to pull in citations for things. It had a lot of trouble generating papers to back up what it had said. So for example, 18 of the 47 medications that were queried, so 38%, it refused to give citations for. It just said, you know what, we looked at the internet, we have no idea. And some of those were, accurate, given that some of the negative controls did not have any papers to support their use, but some of them certainly did, and it just came up blank.
That's fascinating. I'll just point out 20% of false citations is still a high number. That's like the paid version. That's still high. So there's that. What do you make of all of this?
I think the main takeaway is that in the future, this could be very exciting, but we're just not there yet. Really, the large language models as they stand now are very good at putting together that tailored fluid text based on a prompt. However, it is at the end of the day a language generator, and it's not looking to put together substance. And so, it's really trying to answer that query and not give a full, firm, fact-based answer. And so hopefully in the future, it can start to pull in that fact base and say, hey, you know what? I can cross-reference this. I know this doesn't exist. We can't use this. Therefore, the answer is this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, from the editorial side, we're constantly double checking things. And I think as, a researcher or a reader or someone who's writing, if we are using ChatGPT, we just have to double check all of this and can't rely on that as being conclusive evidence.
If only. And really what it found was that my main takeaway was that the good old fashioned Google Scholar and PubMed they just performed way better. So for example, with Bing Copilot, we put in information, we ask the query, is lisinopril an effective medication for the prevention of migraine? Kind of an intermediate case where there's, not as firm evidence as some other ones. And, Google Scholar gave one randomized controlled trial and two high quality review articles as the first three results, but Bing Copilot said couldn't find any citations.
Okay, then. So maybe we're not ready to move on to ChatGPT for all of our work.
Maybe not yet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. It's a pleasure talking with you about this. And we'll see what the future holds.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.